gives attention to is not relevant to business. Clearly, that argument goes away if there is a business case for doing CSR. If there is a business case, well, then we need to find it, right? So a key challenge is identifying and building the business case. And that's very much the theme of the second panel we have this afternoon. So how can we create stakeholder value for all our different stakeholders, and minimize the trade-offs that may arise between different stakeholders? And then how do we develop and implement a CSR strategy? Which issues should we give attention to? And certainly as a suggestion here, I would say that stakeholder engagement can be a key input to that. And how much is enough? How much should you be doing in your organization on those issues? And then finally, mainstreaming CSR. Now, what do I mean by mainstreaming CSR? I mean integrating it into the day-to-day activities of the organization. So again, quoting the UN Global Compact Accenture CEO study of last year, what do they say? Our survey found widespread agreement among CSOs about what the next era of sustainability will look like. It is one where sustainability is not only a separate strategic initiative, but something fully integrated into the strategy and operations of a company. As one emerging economy CEO told us, currently the burning issue is how to better incorporate sustainability into daily practice. And let me just stress, this Accenture study was across developed and developing and emerging economies. One of my recent books from 2009 is all about mainstreaming corporate responsibility, how to get it embedded in the day-to-day activities of the firm. And what you can see here on the cover is this DNA strand, making CSR then part of the company DNA. Some questions to ask. So what does CSR mean for your company, for your brand? How important is it? Why is it important? And are your answers grounded in the normative case, that you think it's the right thing to do? Or are they perhaps additionally grounded in a strategic business case? And to what extent is it embedded in the day-to-day operations of the organization? And how can you tell? How do you know if you're claiming that it is something that is integrated within the organization? And in what ways do your key stakeholders care? What are the issues that really affect them? And how, finally, do you measure your performance? How well do you perform on those issues? Let me just conclude with this slide, which is a CSR scorecard. And it takes the different levels of CSR that I described earlier, and it offers some speculative thoughts, let's say, about how companies are performing in the Africa context. And I'm thinking here about a distinction between multinational companies and the local companies. And so I think, yeah, both companies are paying their taxes, which, in most cases, which enable governments to do what they should be doing. In the case of local companies, they're certainly providing needed goods and services, they're providing jobs, they're providing returns to their shareholders. I've put a question mark under MNC for that, because there are certainly questions asked about whether the resource extraction companies, the oil companies, are doing that. They're not really providing needed goods and services for the local economy. There are questions about the jobs they provide for the local people, though certainly they're providing returns to shareholders. When it comes to philanthropic activities, both sets of companies are doing this, and certainly doing stuff for their local communities, those I've already mentioned, not always successfully. But getting beyond that, getting to addressing the social and environmental impacts, I think there's certainly today some question marks about whether the multinationals and whether the local companies are doing that, let alone addressing broader social problems. One final thought, just in closing, is one of the things I think that it's fair to say MNCs have experienced in the African context is that having come here and essentially taken advantage of the resources, the natural resources that are in this continent, there's been the expectation that they have to pay for that, right? There has to be a payback in terms of contributions to the local companies. Well, what does that mean for, contributions to the local economies? What does that mean for the local companies? If those local companies are also profitable in what they're doing here, is there also a legitimate expectation